Morning, guys. Back an early morning back at the desk. I want to talk about rivets. I was doing some extensive research last night on this subject because the more I sat here and looked at these, the less I liked them. I have questions about them, believe it or not. I'm an old metal guy from way back. And these rivets, the way they were sticking out, did not look right to me for some reason. I just did not buy it. So last night I was looking around and did some research on it, and I found out the following things. The Hunley was not made from an old steam boiler or locomotive boiler. The Hunley was built on purpose, and by that I mean it was made. It was not. They didn't get it, like I said. It was not an old steam boiler. It was made, and it was made on purpose. It was made specifically for what it was. So now, with that being said, I want to explain some finer things. After all my research last night, I found out that this kind of rivet was not used in any capacity with heat. So if there was any heat involved, a locomotive boiler, a steam engine, anything like that, this rivet was not used because it would leak. They would loosen up from the heat, and the expansion and contraction would loosen these up. They were not used. The Hunley was constructed using a butt joint. So where I have the red, that was a separate piece of metal behind the plates. What I have in blue are the plates, and they butted up together in this line. And then they were riveted. Sorry, guys. Should have had this ready. And they were riveted like so. Okay? But then this was a lap joint. Okay? This was overlapped. And then this would have been riveted up the middle. Okay? But that's not how the Hunley was built. The Hunley was built this way. Butt joints. With that being said, the rivets were countersunk. The rivets did not sit on top. The rivets were countersunk. So if the rivets were countersunk, this is wrong. All those should be indents, not sitting on top. Every single one of those things that is sitting on top is wrong. Every single rivet on the Hunley was countersunk. It was not made that way. So like I said, the reason it wasn't was because they were prone to leaks. And yes, I know that there was no heat on the Hunley, but they were still afraid that those, because they had leaked on those, they were going to leak there. So that's why they came up with this system, and this system was in use for anything that had heat. These were used for building. These were used for building buildings. These were used for building boilers. Yes, there are some out there I saw that had these, but from what I understand, this was the way to go. I was on a website last night. For a couple hours reading up on 19th century rivet technology. So I did. So I was doing some extensive reading last night on this subject. Oh, it's very interesting. But yeah, and that's what I found out. The rivets did not stick up. They were countersunk. So now I have to decide whether I want to go and take a drill bit and drill just a little bit down on every single one of these. It's either that or I'm going to take a small sanding stick and see if I can knock them down. Because I read a lot, and I'm into a lot of different things, and I noticed the shipbuilding. The shipbuilding. If you look at the Titanic, the plates of the Titanic were riveted, and all those rivets were countersunk. So, I mean, these guys knew what they were doing back then. I don't care what anybody says. The stuff built back then was made to last a hell of a lot longer than the shit we make nowadays. But this is what I have found out. So, on my deadlights, I'm going to be taking a little drill bit and making little indentations on them. I am not going out and putting rivets that weren't there. So the information's out there, guys. Anybody can look it up. But this is what I have found out. So this is what I'm going with. So that's my information. I've been tossing and turning a couple of nights over this subject, and that's why I finally had to look it up, and that's what I found out. So I will be going around with my little drill bit and making indentations in those dead lights. As far as the rest of it, I don't know. They stick up kind of high. We'll see. Like I said, maybe I'll just take a little sand and stick and knock them down somewhat. But that's what I got, guys. So you want to watch it? I know it's a boring subject, but scrambling around trying to figure out where I'm going to go find rivets. And I thank you for. I got a couple of guys give me info where I could get them. I appreciate that. Gary Brinker and I forget who the hell else. Somebody else mentioned where I could get them. I apologize. But yeah, so that's where we're going, and that's what I'm going to do. So, but this is my info on that. Rivet 101. Peace out.